Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very, very special guest with me, Jessica from Chic Professor.
Hi.
So we have been friends and chatting luxury for years at this point, and
Three
yeah.
years?
Oh, wow. And I'm super excited to have her as a guest on my channel. So we just did a video together over on her channel of bags that we would buy at retail. So definitely, I will leave it linked down below in the description box. Be sure to go check it out and give her a follow. He focuses on sustainable fashion and workwear, two things that I am trying to learn a lot more about, and her videos have been super useful in that process. So definitely check her out if you're not following her already.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we have bonded very early on in our YouTube journeys over our love of pre-loved luxury, especially. And it's very funny. We talked about this for a brief second in my very long video.
That was my fault. I'm still getting
we talked about how even though our styles are very different,
very much,
a lot of bags that we overlap on, or we tend to agree about a lot of bags, whether we love them or hate them, whatever that's going to be, even though my style tends to be a lot more professional and focused in the workwear world. And I would call yours more casual.
And I wear cutoffs and leather jackets to work all the time.
You know, I have more of like a more feminine style too, generally.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
it's crazy. We have different color palettes, like we have just different styles, different lifestyles, different needs, yet we continually go for the same bags all the time. Just the most.
I would say like 80% of the time we like totally agree. It's very funny.
So today we're doing a list of bags that most of them are bags that both of us love, but we know we won't buy. And once again, you're going to see some of those just really uncanny bags that both of us seem to love, despite our I would say almost opposite lifestyle.
Totally.
Another thing too that I do want to mention is that, like, I would say that neither of us are like very trendy, especially like not going towards like a lot of the newer, more off the wall styles that are super popular now.
In your face bags, not our thing.
She doesn't even like monogram.
That's true. I'm very boring with my style. I shouldn't say boring. I should say like low key and sophisticated is really.
I think I'm boring in a different way. I love a good monogram. I do. So it's not always easy, for me at least, to find bags out there that I really do love anymore. It's been ever more challenging as time has gone by, but yeah. So let's get started.
So the first bag that is one we both love. We love. There's just, it's just
for years.
Loved for years. I know. I have almost bought this bag many, many times. And I always admire it, but I know that it's a dumb buy. Like, it's a dumb buy for my collection. The bag in question is the Saint Laurent Sac de Jour.
Sac de Jour in the size small, specifically.
Okay, mine is in the size large or medium. But the bag itself, like, I would want it as a work bag. To me, it is a very classic, absolutely beautiful work bag. I will say I actually also prefer it in the small, but for my lifestyle, I would only ever buy it in the large.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love that bag. The reasons that it's never coming into my collection, so I say, is because the large one is usually discontinued. I could do the men's Sac de Jour, but I find it too big and too boxy. I also just generally find that the large size loses its shape and its structure a lot more quickly. That is a common point you will see in this video. We are both structure fans, so when something starts to lose its structure, it's not as great, and I don't think it looks as professional when it does that. In the large, it's also a very heavy bag, and I also don't love that the interior of the bag, it is a little bit open on top, and it's usually suede inside. So that doesn't really work weather-wise for me. So that's my reasons for not loving it, or that's the reasons for not getting it, but that doesn't stop me from admiring it and loving it.
Yeah, and for me, like, I definitely prefer the size of the medium, but once you get to the bigger size, is something I hate when designers do, is that it doesn't have the shoulder strap anymore. Once it's heavier, all of a sudden they take the shoulder strap off. It makes no sense. So there's that. But the small has the shoulder strap. The small is the perfect size. I think it looks most proportionate in the size small.
Mm-hmm.
But a bag in that shape, a bag in that style, I would want it to be able to carry my laptop, and it's just too small. So I just really don't have a use for a bag specifically that size, even though that's the best proportion, I think, for that bag.
I agree. And that's not a size that works for my collection. However, if you know my collection at all, you will know that silhouette is exactly what I have. Like that is everything that I have in my work bags are that satchel with a long strap, like with a top handle. That's, yeah.
So next is another Saint Laurent bag. We were just saying how much, at least I was saying in her video over on her channel, go check it out, by the way, that Saint Laurent is probably my favorite designer, and I have no Saint Laurent in my entire collection. I may have a shoe or something, but like as far as bags go, they are my favorite current designer for bags, but I don't have any. What is that? So the second one we're going to talk about is the Saint Laurent Rive Gauche shopper tote. Something about this bag, maybe I'm falling for Insta hype. I love this bag in the white canvas. I think it's really understated. It's really stunning. I just love it. I think that it's just really versatile. It sits on the shoulder. But the reasons I think I won't ever buy it, by the way, it also has an amazing price point for that bag. I think it's like about like in the neighborhood of $1,000, perhaps. I could be wrong about that. But first of all, for that large of a bag, when you turn it on the side, if you look at how narrow it is, it doesn't make sense to have that big of a bag with like that shallow of an interior. If I were to get that bag, I would get it in white, and I should know better than to buy a white giant canvas tote bag. I'm sure like it could be Scotch guarded or something like that, but this is one I'm just gonna have to admire from afar.
So to continue on the Saint Laurent train, there are two more bags that I think are beautiful that would also be work bags for me, but don't work. So the first is the Saint Laurent Tribeca, exactly the same reason that Katherine just said. It's way too narrow. That one doesn't make any sense to me. Right. Like a laptop sleeve almost, or like just a document holder. It's so thin, but I think the bag itself is beautiful. It's classy. I like the straps. That bag is really pretty. The Saint Laurent Manhattan, I think, is their kind of redo version of the Sac de Jour. It looks very similar. They both resemble, an Hermes Kelly, which I also like, which is why I tend to like those ones. And the Manhattan, for me, the issue is that the larger size doesn't have the long strap. Again, not learn from
this every time.
The other thing is that that one, the leather is a little bit too soft, so it loses shape. It hasn't been out for very long, and already the ones that you see that people have actually worn, the corners and everything have lost the shape. So really very, very similar reasons to the Sac de Jour for me, for why that one won't work. But I continue to keep coming back to it and like hoping it fits. The medium is very close to fitting a folder, but won't quite do it. So, or actually I think the small is very close to fitting a folder. But then whatever size I would actually need doesn't have that long strap.
So next is another one that we have both stewed over for how many years? 4.
Many, yeah.
And that is, well, I sort of, these are 2 bags by Fendi that I kind of lumped together in the same
I did too.
category. This is the 2 Jours and the 3 Jours. If you guys have ever watched a wish list video on my channel, you've heard about these bags. Like, I have been trying to convince myself to buy this bag for so many years, but I think I'm in a mindset now where I've finally given up. When you talk about like value for money and bang for your buck, especially on the resale market, the prices for these bags on places like Fashion File, places like The Real, like other places on the resale market, it's just so much value for what you're spending relative to other designer bags. The small 3 Jours is the one that I love. Sorry, the small 3 Jours and the mini 3 Jours are the ones I absolutely loved. And it's just the only thing stopping me. I don't have the space for something in that size. Now, the 3 Jours does come in a large that does sit on the shoulder, but there's no like long strap, just like a longer shoulder strap on that bag. And I think that just ruins the lines. All they had to do was make it a little, again, the same silhouette, top handle with the long strap. Just do that. Then when I look at the smaller size, I just don't have a need for a bag that size. If I have to carry anything more than the lipstick keys card holder, then I just need a bigger bag. Thirdly, it's almost identical to this.
Yeah, I have so many bags that it's so similar to.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary to get.
Like, even if I were to try it in like a bright color or something, it's just like, do I really need 2 of these in my wardrobe? Maybe one day I will, but
I find it really close to my Celine Nano.
Yes,
like it's the same shape as that.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's unnecessary in my collection. But I do have the Toujours for sale. This is a bag I had in my collection. I think is absolutely beautiful. I think I talked about the reasons in a recent video of why I'm selling it, but it's so beautiful. The color is great. It's just not something that I still need. But I also have had this bag previously in gray. Do you remember the gray Toujours that I had? Yeah, that was the classic Toujours. This one is the same kind of leather all the way around, which is usually the sides are a different leather. The 3 Jours, the 3 Jours, I looked at so many times as well. Like I just kept coming back to it. And I bought both of mine for such good prices on the pre-loved market. And I think I'm selling this one for a good price as well.
The prices, it's just like, it's hard to justify why to not buy it.
Yeah.
I think it's just really classic looking. The lines are clean. It would go with anything. Yeah. The price is amazing. But I can't pull the trigger.
Yeah. The next one is the Chanel GST. Very funny because when we were chatting about this bag, I was trying to figure out how to describe the handles, which is one of the reasons I don't love that bag. And I was like, the handles are there, and I was trying to come up with the right word, and I was like, I guess the best word is clunky. And then she was like, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So yeah, the handles are too clunky, that bag is too heavy, and it doesn't have a zip closure or like a full closure at the top. Otherwise, I think that the design of it is really beautiful, very classic. I like that it's got the big C's, but it's still in general a little bit more understated than some other bags.
I agree.
And it was a really good size. It just, the handles weren't quite right, and the closure to me really kind of messed it up. And it was a heavy, heavy bag.
By the way, that bag is super similar to one that I had on my last wish list video, which is the YSL tote that she ended up buying, basically. So yeah, I love the shape of that bag, and I still have the YSL on my wish list, kind of. But yeah, it's just sort of the same idea of the GST, but I think the YSL kind of fits better into my wardrobe a little bit.
Yeah, I think it does. I can see you with that one more. But yeah, that's a bag that if they continued to make that bag GST, I would probably look at it a lot. I would probably go into the store and really have to consider. So there is like a more current version. I saw something in a department store, and there was a Chanel like bag that I thought looked nice, and it was just, it was going to be way too expensive, and like it was fine for a work bag, but to me there's something, unless you are a real Chanel person, like, and you have like a ton of Chanel bags, I find that they're a little too dressy for work. Like I would be nervous to carry that around as a bag that I'm like knocking around all the time, unless I found it for a great price, which would mean it would have to be like an old version of something on the pre-loved market, and the GST is really the only one that would fall under that.
So is this a definitely never or definitely maybe never?
I think it's a definitely never for me. I think that there probably will be some other release by Chanel that maybe I would consider over it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch the video on my channel, you know how I feel about Chanel right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that
I'm not happy with them right now.
I'm not.
And the thing is, oh, by the way, so on the video that is going up on her channel, I was really pulling for them. Just go see it. Go see it.
I think I argued my points very well.
You know what? You did. You really did. I had my idea, and then you just like, but also, I mean, we're rehashing it a little bit here, but when we formulated this idea, that was 2 price increases ago.
Yeah.
Like,
very, very different.
So next are 2 pieces from the Gucci Soho collection. Now, my pick is one that's a little bit under the radar. It's one that just like hasn't taken off for some reason, which I find so odd. And it's the flap chain style bag. For me, that one's like a much better pick. I think it's really versatile. It's one that has held its resale value over the last five or 6 years that I've been searching for it. The price.
And you have to buy it pre-loved now.
Yeah, pre-loved, and then every once in a while you'll find them at an outlet. It's, you know, it's versatile. You can go day to night with it. The tassel comes off, but it's just like, I have a couple of bags already, and actually, come to think of it, they're both Gucci, and it's like, do I need another kind of evening Gucci bag about this big? I have 2 definitely that are similar, and then I have a 3rd one that's like kind of a similar size. Like, I don't think I need a 4th, right?
Yeah. I feel the same way about the Gucci Soho Disco, just like the regular camera bag. I think that's a great bag, and I know people recommend it all the time. It's a really good casual bag. It's a very good, like, if you're going traveling a lot bag. It holds a lot, even though it's really quite compact. And I like that the zipper, like the way it opens up, you can very easily access everything in it. I would say, however, though, it is a camera bag. So if you have a camera bag from any other place,
right,
you don't really need that one in your collection. And I do find that, like, so I have a Prada Saffiano camera bag. It's this little teeny red one right here. You can see that one. To me, I prefer the Saffiano leather. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do. And the pebbled leather in the Gucci Soho, I think just gets a little too smushy over time, whereas the Saffiano I think holds up a little bit better. And I like the Prada hardware, like the gold hardware versus just the G's signed in. So even though they're both great bags, and I would have thought about the Disco, I think my Prada camera bag is just too similar, and I do believe that I prefer it.
And I find that the Soho collection generally, it's just like, it is a giant logo on the outside of a bag, but I think it's an understated way of doing that.
It's really funny how that works, right? It's the same as like the GST, right? Like these big like engraved, not even engraved, just like sewn on symbols.
Yeah, like you can't miss it, but at the same time, it's not like screaming at you in the same
Right. It's really funny.
It's definitely a good buy. It's definitely one that I will always recommend to people, but I
think it's great when you're starting a collection.
Totally.
But once you have similar things, it's not necessary to add.
Now, let me ask you this. If you had it to do over again, like if you, let's say, didn't have your Prada, would you get the Gucci?
No. I don't think so.
I feel the same way.
We were talking about this before, but right, you're a Saint Laurent girl. I'm a Prada girl. Like I'm a Prada woman, I should say, right? Like I love Prada. I think it's the working woman's brand. I think it's classy. Even some of their like newer trendy stuff, I think still has like an edge of class to it that I like. So
if I were to start over, would I buy either of those? Would I buy the flap Soho instead of either of those? And the answer for me is absolutely not. Like, I love these so much. If I had to do it over again, I would definitely try to get both of these. But I just can't shake how great of a bag it is.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great bag. It's just not going to make it into my collection or yours.
Recommend, definitely recommend.
Next up is one I am going to speak about for about 10 seconds because I talked about it for a long time in my video. And that is the Chanel Mini Rectangular. That is the only bag from Chanel that I would consider adding. It would be vintage. I think it's classic. I like the silhouette of it more than the especially double flap, but even the regular flap, I like the size and how much capacity it has more than those. I like that it goes crossbody. It's the only bag I would consider, but I'm not gonna get it right now because I'm mad at Chanel and I'm not gonna pay that much money for a not fabulous quality bag, which I just don't think that the current collection has. So that's it. We can move on to the next one. Otherwise, we're going to talk about it for like 20 more minutes.
If you would like to know more, link is below. So this is another one that I have been obsessed with. So this bag is, I hesitate to say, but it's kind of one of the signature bags, I think, in my collection. Like, when you see this bag, like, I feel like it just looks like me. And I'm talking about the Givenchy shopper tote. They made different prints in different collections for this bag for many, many years. I don't know if they have one going currently, but they just always make really cool prints of the canvas shopper totes. And the one that I want, that every time I see it pop up on the pre-loved market, I have to physically restrain myself from buying it. That is the one in the baby's breath print. This print to me is just breathtaking. I think it is just a great, like, it's definitely like a printed bag, but it's still kind of subtle. It's cool. It's like something different, and I love it. Like, I own this. Now, do I need 2 black shopper totes in a sort of florally black patterned? No matter how much money I ever have, no matter what my collection ends up looking like in 20 years, I just can't think of a good reason to buy another one of this bag. Like, it's not different enough. Like, maybe even if it were like the baby's breath on like a white print, maybe I could justify that. But the fact that it's black, it's just too similar. It's too similar, but I love it. I love it.
It's a beautiful bag. I have considered that, and I don't like floppy totes. And I've considered it because I think yours is so pretty. So I totally get that.
Like, and I'm like angry that I can't have it.
Next up is the Fendi Peekaboo. Classic bag from Fendi. I have looked at this bag multiple times. My issue with this bag is mostly that the larger size, actually, you can find it for very little money on the pre-loved market compared to the smaller sizes. But the larger size loses its shape too easily. If you do the Cellier version of it, it's usually a lot more expensive and it still will lose its shape. But my biggest issue with the Fendi Peekaboo is that I don't actually like the bag when it's doing the peekaboo part. Like, when it's actually like hanging open. I only like it when it's closed. And then what's the point of it? It tapers too much at the top to actually fit things well for work if you keep it closed. So if I'm not gonna like do the peekaboo part because I don't like how like unstructured that is, then it's sort of silly to buy that bag because that is the point of it. So yeah. I like it. I always think it looks classic. I actually think that the smaller size in like the Defender too, like with the Defender on it, is so cute. Like, it's really, really cute bag, but it's really expensive, and I just haven't felt the need to add it because the functionality of it, when it's serving its purpose, is not quite right for me.
Next on my list is the Louis Vuitton OnTheGo. I have gone back and forth on this bag so many times, and I have a couple of gripes with it, and I have a couple of things that I really, really love about it. First of all, that one silhouette that we both love, the top handle with the shoulder strap. Like, it's a really easy equation. If you make that bag, I'm probably gonna like it.
Yep.
Monogram, the giant monogram print is just a lot. Even for me, someone who loves monogram prints,
I don't like monogram.
Yeah, she doesn't like
so
monogram
like,
at all.
For me, it's like a lot.
Like, I just feel like that bag is really big and it does a lot. Like, there's the reverse print, there's the regular size monogram, there's the giant monogram, there's the LVs the size of my face on both sides. Like, the interior is red, like, and it's a huge, massive bag. So it's just, there's just a lot going on with it. But for some reason, like, I think that certain people just are able to carry it off really well. And I don't know that I could, as part of it, I guess.
I think you could. I absolutely think you could. But is it necessary? Like, again, right? I know necessary is not the right word, but you could pull it off. The way you like dress, I think, works really well with that bag.
Like, the more I see it, the more I'm like less put off by the giant monogram, because when I first saw giant monogram,
you're used to it.
Yeah, maybe so, because I was completely like against giant monogram when it first came out, but like,
and then when it was like green, I was like, what's happening here? And I was like, I'm not sure why did we go more? Why didn't we go less? Like, for the next one.
Once again, just like, make it in Damier Ebene. I mean, to be fair though, they do make it in Empreinte Black. Yeah. With orange lining though, like,
it's still a lot, even though it's more subtle. So yeah, that one I like. I also agree with you because it has the long strap that works compared to something like the Dior book tote. Without the long strap, it makes it much harder to carry. So the next step is the Celine belt bag. I think that this bag is really classic, really beautiful. The reasons it doesn't work for me is that the proportions don't work right to hold documents or folders, so it doesn't work as a work bag, which makes me sad because I think it's a beautiful bag. I also don't love that the belt straps hang lower than the bag. I feel like they're always getting like stuck under it, or like it's kind of hard to store. Yeah, because like if you put it on a shelf, it's gonna like bend over time, right, and get out of shape. So that part I don't love about it. But in general, I think that that's a really classy, really pretty bag. And I've heard people complain about like the closure and like it's kind of like fussy, but I really think I would be fine with that if it was the right size and if the straps were a little bit, not like the straps to carry, right, but like the belt straps, if those were a little bit shorter. I also can't remember now exactly. Somebody comment down below that has that bag, but I also don't think it has feet on the bottom, which is something also that I generally prefer. I've tried that bag. I've like brought a folder into Celine multiple times and been like, does it fit this year? No, it does not. Right? Like it's not changing. So yeah, that one, I don't like it as much in the small. Like I would want it for a work bag. So that one is still admired all the time from afar, but will not be in my collection.
Next, we have one that I'm surprised that makes it onto this list every time, but this is the Dior Diorama. I think it's like a random pick for me. You guys know that I'm not a huge fan of the Chanel boy bag, and I think that the Diorama is a spin on the Chanel boy, but pretty much every concern about the Chanel boy that I've ever had is addressed by the Diorama. The structure is there. I think it's a bit more understated. Again, I like clean lines. I like an easy closure. Yeah, and also too, like, there are deals out there to be had on that bag on the resale market. They make wallet and chain varieties. I just really like it, but sadly, I just like don't think I have a place for it once again. I just don't feel like there's a purpose that's served. I'm at a place in my bag collection now where like nothing's missing. So in order for me to consider purchasing something, it has to like really, really wow me. And it doesn't do that, but I always admire it every time I scroll through anything and see it, every time I see it on a shelf, anytime I go to the Jour website.
I think they're discontinuing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are discontinuing it because it wasn't popular. And it's like, why isn't this bag popular? Like, I love
it too. For me, I think the biggest issue, because I also considered it, it's almost too structured, which is so funny because I'm such
That's hilarious, yeah.
I would want to wear it on my hip, and it felt like when I walked around with it on my hip, it felt like it was like bumping my hip, you know?
Yeah.
And like almost uncomfortable. So that was like my issue with it. And that was really it though. I really did like that bag, but it almost feels, it's like a very classic bag, but it almost feels a little too edgy for me too. Like there was something about it that just wasn't quite right. So it never made it into my collection, but I did also really like that bag.
But normally, like when something copies something else, like
right, then you don't like the new version anymore. Yeah.
Right. Like why am I gonna like the copy? But here, I love it. I think it's
Okay, so the last bag that we are going to talk about today is one of my picks, and that is the Louis Vuitton Cluny BB, I think, but I'm not, they really only ever made one or two sizes of it, and I liked them all. That bag is beautiful. Let's talk about another top handle long strap silhouette. It is very classic, that bag. I like the flap on it. The reasons it didn't work are the sizing again. I really don't feel like I need it in the small because it would just compete with my Alma BB, also in epi leather, also in pink. Like that's what I would have gotten the Cluny in. There's something about that bag I think is really beautiful in the black, but it's particularly beautiful to me in like the lighter colors. So yeah, it would just compete with the Alma BB, which I love even more. And then the bigger version wasn't big enough for work. But also that bag doesn't stand on its own. It topples over. It's like front heavy.
Oh no.
And that would absolutely make me like, it would agitate me. Like I need something that's going to stay when I put it down. So even though I still think that bag is beautiful, it wasn't going to work for me. And I also didn't love, I think it's a magnetic closure or a snap. I think it's magnetic. Something about it just wasn't, it didn't feel super luxurious. It felt like a little cheap to me, the closure. So it like works a little bit better. Yeah, I feel like over time that one would like really start to like wrinkle at the top. Like the flap is so big, you're putting so much pressure on the top of it every time. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, that one isn't gonna make it onto my list, but every time I see it, I'm like, oh, that bag.
I don't know, I guess it would be different if like I was having that feeling a lot more. And because I haven't liked a lot of the recent collections, like just remembering that feeling of like actually looking at something and saying, oh my God, that's beautiful, I like it. It just makes me all the more sad that I can't have it.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any bags that you love but won't buy on your list, please comment them down below. This was definitely like, this is a video that both of us did years ago, like in the early days of our channels, and it's just good to do like a revisit, it's good to do like a revisit because there have been so many new collections between now and what was that? What would you guess, like 2017?
Yeah, I think so. 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
In there.
Hope you guys enjoyed this. Go check out Jessica's video over on her channel. I'll have it linked down below in the description box. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
So let's
also ask, how much do you actually love it?
I don't love it that much. Like I've considered it multiple times.
Yeah.
And I've gone back to it a few times, but the reason
obsession worthy like some of the others.
The reasons that I mentioned it in that other video, that bags I didn't buy, are still the same reasons, right? Like my love for it hasn't changed. I just keep being amazed that so many people still love it. So I keep being like, am I missing something? And then I have the exact same reaction to it.
Okay, that was me. And then I bought it and I was like, oh.
I was the same with the Nano, the Celine Nano. I was the same. I was
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.